Hi everyone, returning again to my 1973 series, series I'm doing on the films of 1973. I had a film requested by one of my compadres in the Movie Reviewers 100, EJ, Pakban 007, who asked that I take a look at a movie called The Legend of Hell House. This was directed by John Hough, who did films such as Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry, the original version of Escape to Witch Mountain, Watcher in the Woods, American Gothic, and Howling 4. Most of these he did after The Legend of Hell House, as far as I can tell. So clearly a genre-friendly guy. The story is about a quartet of, or actually a trio of British individuals who are experts in certain fields, who are recruited basically to investigate the goings-on in a place called the Belasco House, which they call the Mount Everest of haunted houses. You have Dr. Lionel Barrett, who is a physicist and approaches everything from sort of a pragmatic, purely scientific point of view, and his wife, Anne Barrett, who accompanies him. You have Florence Tanner, who is a psychic, basically, a medium, mental medium, and then you have a physical medium, who is played by Roddy McDowall. Roddy McDowall is arguably the biggest star in the cast right here. Dr. Barrett is played by Clive Revill, who was in an Otto Preminger film called Bunny Lake is Missing. He was in a film adaptation of Modesty Blaze, and he also was in The Empire Strikes Back. I am betting that he played one of the Empire officers in that, given that he's very English and proper and what have you. Gayle Hunnicutt plays his wife. I'm not really familiar with her. I looked at her filmography but didn't recognize any of the titles. Pamela Franklin was 23 when this movie came out. She plays Florence Tanner, who is the mental medium. Very, very pretty lady. She's, I guess, 63 or so now. She was in the prime of Miss Jean Brodie. She won an award for that. And she was also in an episode of The $6 Million Man called Operation Firefly. Not really familiar with a lot of her filmography, but I really liked her a lot. She's very, very beautiful. Of course, Roddy McDowall is a huge star, has been in lots and lots of movies since he was a little kid. He passed away in 1998 after contributing a voice part to the Pixar film A Bug's Life. When he was younger, he was in films like How Green Was My Valley and Lassie Come Home. He was about 15 when that movie came out. I was in The Longest Day, war picture, Cleopatra with Elizabeth Taylor, Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry, which was one of John Hough's films, The Poseidon Adventure, the original with Gene Hackman, a couple of very popular genre pictures, such called Planet of the Apes and Fright Night from the 80s. Yeah, so he has had a long, long, long career. I actually saw him in a couple of movies without really knowing who he was. In the 90s, he was in The Big Picture, which is a Kevin Bacon comedy, and Last Summer in the Hamptons, which is an ensemble drama with Andre Gregory. Yes, I must admit that I really didn't know a lot about Roddy McDowall from previous films, because I hadn't really paid that much attention. But yeah, he's had a pretty long career. And he is more or less, he becomes kind of the main character in a sense. Because as the four enter the house, they spend several days in there investigating and trying to communicate with the spirits, which are disruptive and throw things around and what have you, and affect them mentally and psychically. He is he is a member of a former team of people that were investigating. He is brought back to join the new team and see if they can rid the house of these evil spirits. And Dr. Barrett has this large machine which he claims is going to be able to neutralize the evil forces in the house by producing a complementary waveform that will neutralize it, basically. But things don't go as planned. The spirit acts up, starts throwing things around, puts them in danger, just like the previous team. Because in the previous team, of course, none of those people survived except for the one guy, played by Roddy McDowall. I rewatched this movie a couple weeks ago just because I didn't really remember a whole lot of it from seeing it earlier this year. Again, it's one of those films that I saw months ago and only just now getting around to making a video about. I felt that a lot of the characters, it was just seemed pretty stiff and formal. But once Florence Tanner starts channeling the evil spirit and yelling at them during one of her sittings, things started to get lively. And things started to get pretty lively towards the end as well. Because Belasco is rumored to be this incredibly intimidating, tall character. Roddy McDowall's character, he uses his abilities to sort of read into the spirit and what it's really all about, and discovers that he was actually a very short person who wanted to seem tall because he was very, very self-conscious about that. So as the spirit is whipping around him and throwing stuff at him, and the wind is high, he's yelling back at it. He's not backing down, he's yelling back at it. He's like, "How tall really were you, Belasco? 5'2"? 1? No, you didn't even come up to 5 feet, did you? I know!" And that's like a real show-stopping event there at the close of the picture. So yeah, I enjoyed seeing this a second time, but yeah, it wasn't a movie that I was really all that crazy about, but interesting. That's for sure. Real interesting. So I wanted to say thank you to Puckbond for recommending it. Have more reviews on 1973 movies, of course, in the immediate future. Take it easy, guys.